Hey, real quick before we dive into the Hardcore Closer podcast, if you haven't already, jump over to hardcorecloser.com, sign up, and join over 20,000 sales professionals from around the world and receive free hardcore sales training every week after week that will help you step your game up. Now, buckle up, closers. Here's Ryan. Let's do it.
What's up, Closer Nation? What's up? Welcome to Hardcore Closer Podcast. I am the host, Reverend Ryan Stewman, founder of HardcoreCloser.com. And listen, this podcast is all about helping you, the sales community. That's right. If you're here, hearing my voice right now, right here, if you're here, hearing my voice here, hear me now, right here, you are part of the sales community, right? Doesn't matter if you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting. It doesn't matter what you sell, baby. The podcast is dedicated to helping you generate higher quality leads, increase your closing ratios, and I'm going to show you how to charge premium fees for what you sell so you can get paid what you are worth, man. Welcome to episode 16. Dude, I'm excited, right? If this is your first time here, we get a little bit wild. Sometimes you never know what's going to come out of my mouth on this show. And that's kind of the excitement of being here, right? You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So first time here, thank you for showing up. Thanks to whoever invited you here, or however you found us, traffic, search engines, whatever. That's awesome as well. Thank you, internet gods. And you know what? I just want to ask you while you're here, you listen to this, if you haven't done so already, head over and give us a review, right? If this is your first time, wait till the end of the show. Go ahead and form a full opinion on what we got going on over here. But listen to episodes 1 through 15 as well. They're out there for you, absolutely free, hanging out. All I ask is that in return, you give me a review. You guys are doing a great job of giving reviews out there. There's a lot of 5-star reviews. I think how many reviews total do we have right now? Being 16 episodes in on this, Robert?
116, I believe, last time I looked.
Cool. So we need to make that 10,000 reviews, right? Because we're reaching, like, our reach is like 100,000 people a month right now, if I remember correctly. Like, we have all these videos on YouTube, on Lisbon, on SoundCloud. Like, we've syndicated this show in a lot of different places, and we're sitting somewhere around 100,000 listens per month right now. So if you're listening to this shit, quit bullshitting and give me a damn review, right? The least you can do, put all this money and all this thought into this program. We're just asking you to put a little trust in us and give us a 4-star review, like this person that goes by the name Info That Pays. I would imagine that's an info marketer if I was to guess properly. But Info That Pays, give us 5 stars here. It says, Ryan's info is gold. Listen and implement, and your business will be better for it. Appreciate that, Info That Pays. I wish you had a real name, Info That Pays, so that we could get people to go your way and pay you for info because they'd know who you are. But nonetheless, thank you for going out of the way and leaving that review. So here's what we're going to talk about this week. Real simple. We're going to talk about being a content creating machine. Oftentimes people ask me, they say, Ryan, dude, you must just be like making videos and writing shit 24/7. Dude, I see your stuff everywhere. How in the hell do you create that much content? And I'm going to share it with you. You know, I don't have a social media team. I don't have somebody that runs my channels for me. You know, part of my story is in 2012, I started a company called, in 2011, I started a company called Postfuser. And we managed people's social media for them. And we posted 5 times a day on Twitter, 5 times a day, LinkedIn 5 times a day, and Facebook 5 times a day. And we did it through Hootsuite, but we had to write all of the posts, right? And so it was me and 2 other people, and we had 70 clients that we were making 15 posts a day. Now, really, it was 3 posts or 5 posts spread out into 3 different channels. So we're making 70 people times 5 posts a day. We'll just work it out at that. That way they were in every little time slot, you know, early in the morning, mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, and evening, right? And so we were making all these posts and scheduling them and writing all this stuff. And I just got really good at curating content because I had to come up with content for all these people. It's like everything else. I was the guy that sold it and the guy that delivered the stuff. I had 2 other people helping me, but I did the majority of the content because that's what people were really paying for. Robert, how much do you think that I charged to write for me to manage and write someone's complete social media for the month? How much would you think that I charge for that?
Well, I'm sure that you were the bargain back then. Couldn't get you for those fees today, but I would say probably, so this is per customer, we're talking 5 days a week, 7 days a week of five unique posts.
Yep, on 3 different channels.
So 7 days a week. But are you
7 days a week?
So, but are you using those initial 5 posts and then just repurposing them for that channel?
No.
So
5
it's
new
5
ones
uniques for 3 channels.
No, 5 uniques on one channel, and then we copy those so the same things on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter.
Yeah, but just make them native for that channel. Got it. So let's see. That's 7 times that. That's 35 a week unique times, let's say 4.3. So we're looking at,
150 posts a month.
Oh man, I would say you were probably charging 25, $2,000, 2,500.
$100, dog.
Why?
I had a $500 setup and $100 because nobody believed in the internet back then. They were like, you can't make money from social media. Like you probably have forgotten about those days, right? And so I had to kind of prove my way in there. But
what kind of businesses
and guess
were
what?
These?
Real estate agents, loan officers, people like that. But there was never any value in social media yet with these people because they had, they didn't know even though it seems like it was just yesterday. Back in 2012, people weren't really buying this whole you can make money from social media thing. Now, pretty much everybody's like, oh shit, it's just like anything else. There's money on this. But back then they were like, get out of here. We have our employees blocked from Facebook. We don't want people on Facebook. That you can't make any sales from that. That's where your sister finds out if you just got a new puppy or whatever,
Yeah, I'd pay the 100, man. Maybe we can work that deal out now. Give me the bro deal for that.
The bro deal,
yeah,
the hookup, man.
I would 100 a month.
I can barely manage my own social media, let alone somebody else's at this point, man. I think the people leaving us reviews and being awesome and listening to this podcast and everything, we have a lot of incoming messages and shit like that I didn't have back then. And plus, I didn't manage that side of make the post, right? I would write 150 posts for the month in Hootsuite, and sure, I could repurpose like this. I could say the same thing for a couple different people, but we had a whole system, dude. It was rigorous. But anyway, so back to the reason why I brought that up is around content. I had to learn to create content, so that's where I got my stripes. That venture lasted about 6 months, and I said, fuck this. I am done writing this much. I'm over it. I'm through. Don't ask me to write shit anymore. I was like Brian in Half Bakes, like I'm out of here. Who's coming with me? Right? So let's talk about some things steps that I would go
game
through.
Though viciously, probably.
Oh, dude.
Right? Yeah.
Oh man, it made me malicious, and it made me super confident because I knew I could do it. Yep. And really, it allowed me to have 70 different accounts to learn the psychology and how people interacted with different things, and how different personalities attracted different people. And dude, it was an experience that you couldn't pay for. College wouldn't give you that.
And bro, you're talking 70 at 35 a week. I mean, you're getting a lot of inside data on like what works, what doesn't too. Like so
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. So here's how the steps that I used to create content back then, and then here's some of the things that I do it right now. We'll talk about 5 content creating tips. The first thing is you have to understand who you're creating content for, like who's your audience. Because here's the thing, the content they see is going to be that first impression. It's no different than you being introduced in person or showing up on a blind date or meeting somebody at the bar or having a networking meeting or walking in or door knocking. Like the first time that they see anything with your logo, brand, or offer on it, that is that first impression, right? And so whatever it is that you're putting out there for a content piece, you have to look at that is that they're going to, we like to pretend like everybody fucking knows. It's like, oh, they know me. They don't. They don't. 3.5 million people per week see my shit. Nobody knows me. Nobody. You can walk down and ask my neighbors in the building behind me that I don't interact with it on a daily basis, and nobody in that building is going to know who the hell I am. And so it would be stupid for me to think that people know me and to treat a target audience like they know me and just start talking to them like we've been longtime friends. If I ran into somebody in the elevator that just moved into this building and I started telling them about this problem and that problem and story about my parents and things and start acting like we known each other for forever, they would flip out. They'd be like, dude, I just met you. I don't give a shit about that. Like, what are you coming at me with all this for? Right? And so that's what a lot of salespeople and people that are trying to create content, people that are posting on Facebook, wherever that content's at, right? That's what they're doing. They're acting like they know everything about you and like you're this long-term friend. And oftentimes the people that are seeing you, they're seeing you for the first time. Or they don't know you as well as you think they do because you are not as cool as you think you are, myself included. So first thing is you got to understand that target audience. You want to speak their language, right? Like the first thing that they will do is run your ass out of town if they realize that you're an outsider. right? If you're writing to real estate agents and you're not using real estate agent terminology, you don't know appraisal, inspection, listing, buyer, seller, lead, you don't know the terminology, CRM that they use and stuff like that, dude, and you start using the wrong terminology, they will spot you quickly. It's like going to a foreign country and speaking English. They know you ain't from there. They know you ain't from there. They're about to charge you 3 times as much as everybody else, right? The number 2 thing is, so once you understand your audience, right, number 1, in the language they use, number 2 is you have to figure out what do they want, right? What kind of content should you create for them? So, for example, if real estate agent is who you're going to run your advertising to. I've worked in the real estate niche for quite a while, right? If I'm going to run advertisements to real estate agents and use their language, I might say, here, find out how you can get 30 listings in 30 days in less than 30 hours worth of work, right? That might be a hell of a headline there. We might need to write that one down. Don't steal it from me here. But 30 leads in 30 days with less than 30 hours total work to get these listings, right? And so that's a pretty good offer for them. That's something they'd be interested in because I know the language of real estate agents. I know what they want, and they're not looking to sell more houses. They're looking to get more listings. More listings are what leads to selling more houses. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the industry and don't speak the insider language, a listing is when they stick a sign in the yard of a house and list it for sale on the multiple listing service, which is basically like Zillow or Trulia or any other site that holds the housing data that says what the address is, who owns it, how much it's for sale for, and all that stuff, right? They want listings because listings lead to leads, right? People call from the sign. People want to take a look at that house. People want to sell their house. People, all that kind of stuff. So I know that they want to listings. So I would create content, and I have created a lot of content around getting listings. Now, if I didn't know and I wasn't on the insider and I didn't understand my audience, I would be creating content around getting people to buy homes. But real estate agents truly hate working with people buying homes because when you list a home, you stick a sign in the front yard, you market it on the internet, and that's how you make your money. You let technology work for you. When you're working with somebody buying a home, you have to put them in the car, you have to show them the house, you have to unlock the door, you have to tour the properties, and it's just time consuming, right? So I know that most agents, once they get to a certain level, they want to do listings. And so reason why I say all this is I'm going to know that that's the kind, knowing my audience, that's the kind of content that I'm going to create. And now you might think, number 3, you might ask like, hey, what if I'm not a writer, right? Like a lot of people aren't writers. And I said this on a podcast that I was a guest on actually this morning. And this is going to hit home for some of you guys. It's going to piss you off, man. But you know what? The truth will piss you off, but at the same time, it'll set you free. If you are a good talker and you're good on the phone and good in person and good on the stage, but you can't close sales through text, and you can't close sales through email or Facebook chat or any of that stuff, you need to step your game up. That's like being a dude with really big arms and a 315 bench press and really skinny legs that can't even squat the bar. And here's the thing, your legs are where the testosterone is. Your legs are the most important part of your body. They're the things that are the stems for everything else in your entire body. So they've got to be big. They've got to be strong. They've got to be fed. Your arms are things that you hardly ever use if you think about it in comparison to you're almost always using your legs, and they support so much weight. So if you're not taking care of that foundation, you'll never really get the strength that you want. And writing is the foundation. Now, here's the bonuses of writing. If you're not a writer, it's okay. I'm going to help you out with this, right? I'm going to give you some resources that you can use to become a better writer. But here's the thing. We live in a society where 86% of all phone calls go unanswered. That means people don't want to talk. People want to text. And so if you're going to sell in the future and in the current market, you're going to have to get good at writing. That's what people prefer. And here's the thing. You might say, well, dude, how do you keep people engaged when you're writing stuff? Ask them questions, just like a sales conversation. So different. You can't tell somebody something through text and expect to carry on a conversation. Answer their questions, ask them a question, get them to reply. Every time that you send a text out to them, it should be repositioning your product or your service as the solution, and then asking them a question so that they're obligated to engage on the back end. Now, listen, if you're not a writer, here's the thing. Start reading blogs and start practicing, right? The only way to get bigger legs is to start squatting the bar immediately, work up to quarters, work up to 45 plates, and then keep stacking them on top of that, right? The only way to grow your legs is to start working out. The only way you're going to get better at writing is to start practicing. Start texting your clients. Start emailing your clients and start trying to close them. Instead of trying to sell them on getting on the phone with you, sell them through text right there where they're comfortable being sold at. Now, listen, you're going to get practice, right? There's one thing that cannot get beat, and that's experience, right? So the practice is the first step. But the second part I want you to consider is going to John Carlton's website, and I think it's called therant.com. Let me pull it up real quick, and I can tell you John Carlton is a brilliant writer. He taught me how to write in the style that I have. I'm a big, huge fan, and it's his website is John-Carlton-com. And what I'm going to do here is there's actually I'm going to put the link so that Robert can, I'm going to Skype that to you there, Robert, so that you can keep that link and put it up on the blog when we do the replay of this and put it in the notes. But John Carlton's Kick-Ass Copyright and Secrets of a Marketing Rebel will change your life, right? Like you will read that and it will teach you to write. And it is dude, it's a great book. Like it's entertaining as hell to read. It like draws you in. It's well written. It's fun. The book costs $97. It's worth, to me, it's made me $1 million at least. It's one of the best $97. Most of the time you buy something for $97, you don't even open it up. This thing came in an envelope in loose leaf paper, and I read the whole damn thing, and it blew my mind and changed the way that I write forever. And I always encourage everybody that goes through our high-level coaching to read it. It's like one of the best kept secrets of the internet. And guess what, motherfuckers? Now it's out of the bag. All I ask is for a goddamn review on iTunes in exchange for these knowledge bombs I'm dropping to you guys, right? 5 stars. Is that too much to fucking ask for over here? Sorry, just got off on a tangent here. But like literally the book will change your life. Number 4, what channels and mediums you should be creating content on, right? Just like we were talking about in 2011 when I was working with Postfuser, we focused on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But like really back then, Google Plus wasn't a thing. And I mean, really, it's not a thing now anyway. Pinterest wasn't really a thing. We didn't have Snapchat. Instagram wasn't a thing. Like those weren't like, I mean, think about it. All this shit's really popped up in the last few years, which, you know, hence why we created Clixo. There's all these like different places to distribute your content and different places people can find you. And I created a solution to that called Clixo, CLYXO.com. You can check my shit out, Clixo.com/closer. And it's free. You can get you a profile while you're there. But there's a lot of social media channels to keep up with. So people are like, well, where should I be publishing? Should I have a blog? Should I use Facebook? And the truth is, like, where do your people hang out at? Let's go back to number 1. Where are your target audience at? If they hang out on Facebook, then maybe you don't need a blog. You just need to be making sure that you're working out on Facebook and make sure that you're interacting with them there. If they hang out on Instagram, maybe you don't need a blog. Maybe they're blog readers and maybe they don't go to social media, right? You just need to know where your target audience is, and you should be every fucking where that they are. I know that salespeople are everywhere. They're reading, you know, clickbait sites. I know that they're reading newspapers and certain publications. I know they read books. I know that they search Google. I know that they're on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. So my content's everywhere. I advertise everywhere. Did I say that? I advertise everywhere? I fucking advertise everywhere. We got more traffic sources than we can count. And it's because we want our content everywhere. But I'm in a very broad niche. I mean, sales, there's 350 million of us on this planet, right? So there's like no shortage of us. So I've got to get my content everywhere. You might be in more of a niche. Let's say that you're selling to loan officers. There's only like, you know, a couple 100,000 of those people worldwide. So you've got to make sure that if the loan officers spend the majority of their time on LinkedIn, that's where you need to make sure that your content's going. And guess what? These days, LinkedIn allows you to have a free blog anyway. You just use it under the publishing side of things. And LinkedIn, you can drive traffic to it and everything else. And it's a great outlet, especially if you don't have any kind of coding skills and you're on a budget. LinkedIn's a greght place to publish stuff. And last one is, how often should you be creating content? As often as you can. As often as you can. You know, I try to make 2 or 3 videos a week. I wish I could do that every day. Oftentimes we just do live streams because that's what Facebook likes right now. But yeah, we're doing 2 or 3 videos a week. I'm writing 2 or 3 blog posts a week. We're putting together a podcast every week. I write 2 or 3 articles a month for other publications. I'm doing podcasts and interviews for other people, and I'm getting featured in magazines all the time. So you should be creating content as often as you can. Like anytime that I get an idea, I have an Evernote app on my phone. And anytime I get an idea, I write it down in Evernote, right? I have this whole thing. And if I get an idea for a blog post, then I write it under blog posts. If I get an idea for a video, I write it under videos. If I get an idea or a problem that I run across, something that I need to talk about, man, I just make notes in Evernote. And then when I get a free moment, I create that shit, whether it's making a video, whether it's writing a blog post. And I'm wordy when it comes to blog posts, right? Like I write 1,200 to 1,500 word blog posts where the average blog post is like 300. 300 or so words. But the reason I'm worried is because A, I'm trying to sell some shit, and B, I'm trying to add some value, right? Like you can't really add much value in 300 words. But the reason why I say that is my content can't always go everywhere because you can't make a 1,500 word post on Facebook, but I can share the link to it. And so, you can repurpose that content too. What I'll do, for example, with this podcast, it's on iTunes, Lisbon, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And so we've got one podcast that we've got the same thing. It doesn't cost us any other extra work other than uploading it to those channels
and Google Play.
Pasting. And Google Play. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yep. And Google Play. And all it does is it just takes us a few extra minutes of uploading it and copy and pasting some info from one channel to the other. So really we've created content on 6 different networks, but it's the same piece of content. And then we'll repurpose that on my blog. And then we'll take the YouTube video that we have the content on from this podcast and embed it on my blog and then run traffic to that blog from Facebook. So, if you're running low on the creation side of things, you can repurpose the hell out of it too. And I mean, in all reality, what Robert does is he takes older blog posts from my blogs, takes notes from them, turns it into a topic on a show, gives me bullet points that he wants me to talk about. And we repurpose the blog posts and turn them into. So really what we're doing, this is full circle fuckery right here. We're taking old blog posts, repurposing them into podcasts, turning them into new blog posts and repurposing them into traffic sources on Facebook. True shit, right? You guys are getting secondhand shit right now. Just realize that, right? I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings because it's okay with me. So recap, know your audience, know what kind of stuff they want you to give them. If you're not a writer, go to that kick-ass copywriting link or john-carlton.com. You'll find it there. Dude, that $97 will change your life, turn you into a better writer. You should be on every channel that your audience is on, and you should be creating content as absolute often as possible. Anytime you get an idea, anytime you have a conversation, anytime something throws you off, anytime something hits you profound, you should be taking notes and you should be talking about it, writing about it, sharing about it later on down the road when you can turn it into content. So, hey, if you dug this, give us a damn review. I'm tired of asking for this shit now. Give us a damn review. We're trying to get to 1,000 reviews here. Hook it up. Hook a brother up with a 5-star review on the podcast. And hey, if you want my book, text HC podcast to 44222. I'll give you a copy of my book, digital book, for free. Who don't like free shit? Even you kangaroos are welcome. I have this little 3D print from one of my homeboys from the Sales Pro group, and it's a little kangaroo, and he's got $1 in his hand, and it says "fuck 'em." He delivered that to me. He actually printed it with a 3D printer. One thing you can't 3D print, and that's reviews on the iTunes store for my podcast. So make sure that you go there and you actually, no 3D printing that shit. Just go there and actually hit the 5 stars. And again, last thing but not least, text HC podcast to 44222 and get my book. Oh, and if you want to find me, baby, find me on Clixo, CLYXO, Clixo.com/closer, and connect with me wherever. There's 15,000 and something on Instagram. There's 100,000 on Facebook. Like, let's keep the sales community growing. Let's keep it strong. And make sure you share this with another fellow salesperson or another. This really wasn't even about sales, but content, that's what it is. It's sales, right? You're creating content so you can sell some shit. Just know that. So it's always about sales. I'm out, Robert. Mic drop.